All is love. Is all love is all is love is all.
Hello, welcome to Pray Love. Dave, you weren't poking out there. I didn't want to be poking out all by myself. Hello, everybody. Thank you for watching us this evening on Pray Love. I'm Deb Maybury. My co-host is Dave Rogers. And on this show, we talk about a variety of topics all under the spiritual umbrella. And at the beginning of every show, we do a blessing of the land. So Dave, if you can do that.
Certainly. Thank you very much, Deb. We'd like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee and the Anishinaabeg. This territory is covered by the Upper Canada Treaties, is within the lands protected by the Dish with One Spoon, Wampum Agreement. Mother Earth, Father Cosmos, all of our ancestors, our guides, and our beloveds. May we bring some truth, some wonderful wisdom, and some sharing today that uplifts with love and light. Namaste. Welcome to Pray Love.
Thanks, Dave. I always enjoy listening to that. And now that I can sit in the background, I can get the next couple of things set up. So it's actually a bonus for me, taking my glasses on and off. So tonight we have a topic, just Dave and I this evening. I do have a couple of guests lined up and for the next, for April, which I'm really looking forward to. But tonight it's Dave and I, and we were sort of poking around with a couple of different topics, and I slept on it last night. And what I woke with this morning was the topic of hope and dreams and the various interpretations of those. So we're going to start off with a definition of hope, a feeling of expectation and desire for a certain thing to happen, a want or something to happen, to be or be the case. Dave, what is a hope to you?
Well, a hope is a shift from where and what I'm experiencing right now to a vibration that is higher, that is lighter, and that is moving me towards or assisting me towards a feeling that is not the feeling I'm currently experiencing.
Interesting. Thank you. And we haven't rehearsed this, so we have no idea what we're going to say here. I've created some different.
And just to let you know, because this is beautiful serendipity, it's synchronicity, I did create a stone this week, and can you read what's on it?
Yeah.
And so this is something that I have been creating this past week. Some different types of art, creativity, healing, and that is one of the keystones to live with love and light.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. How about that, right?
And
the universe.
Hope for you?
Hope for me. It's sort of getting at a more conscious level of thought. First of all, I wrote down some words. It's kind of like a wish, but again, it's on a higher plane, a higher frequency. There's a different intent to it. It's often related, when somebody is ill or something, we have this hope, or it's close to a prayer kind of sentiment in a lot of ways. So, and I also wrote that it sort of amplifies connection. It's like we don't just hope like hope in a container. We hope. There's an energy about it. There's a movement of frequency and hope, right? It's not just a simple thing. It's more complex, more conscious, right?
That's what's beautiful, I believe, is if we infuse that and invite people to explore, what is my relationship with hope? It may have that beautiful growing component that hope becomes more of a habit. And that might be something that could be fun to start a communication about. I think it's a beautiful topic.
Right. Like hope's almost like it's in motion. It's something in motion. It's not stagnant. It's moving. Okay, so the next one is the dream. You gonna read it, Dave?
To indulge in daydreams or fantasies about something greatly desired, an experience of waking life having the characteristics of a dream.
You should be reading like some children's book or something. Or sometimes in some horror movie. I think you could just get that little raspy voice in there. Okay, so a dream. I'll go ahead. I wrote down a desire. And to me, it's just not like a dream. A dream, when you say a dream, it's like a dream. There's true depth to it. It's in no way superficial. You don't say, "Oh, I'm going to dream about that," right? And I'm also making the distinction. So we have dreams at night, but I'm looking at it more in terms of a dream, like a direction or an outcome. So I also put down that in a lot of cases, it seems like a destination. And often we forget about the journey part. People just see the dream as the ending versus the dream, the whole process of the dream. I had a very powerful dream the other night that woke me up. And it's that whole journey, the appreciation of any obstacles or opportunities along the way. And it's a plan thing to me. A dream isn't just like a fleeting thought. Oh, I just have a dream of that one day happening. That's a thought. A dream is a plan. It doesn't have to be completely succinct, and we'll get into that, but it's a vision, it's movement. And you, what is a dream for you?
I love breathing into this, and that's the other one that sort of like my little game continued with breathe. And I'm inviting people, and I'm inviting myself to breathe more. And so when I breathe into a dream, the surreal part of it for me is that I'm noticing I am living my dream life. And I'm acknowledging when I have a beautiful moment. I take my 3 days ago, I took my parents out, and it was sunny, and it was a dream experience of just taking them out, a beautiful breakfast brunch, having conversation. And I just thought, I took a deep breath, and this is a dream life. Acknowledging it when we're nature. And it's this bringing this multi-dimensional world experience, the matrix. And it's almost bringing the dream component that I am in the dream. Mm-hmm. And then, because again, you remember, I was a part of a movie called The Dream Maker.
Oh, right.
And my whole life has been about making other people's dreams a reality. That's what I've lived for since I was like 4 or 5 years old. And so, and when I went to South Africa, I spent hours running around looking for dream catchers so that I could have it as a gift. And so in Bali, I've traveled on motorcycles for hours to find dream makers so that I can share it with people, or dream catchers with people. I love the idea of dreams becoming a reality. And so I have a pretty energetic charge around dreams, and I love closing my eyes and flickering that this is a dream.
I do believe it's a dream. I also believe it's a matrix. That's a whole other topic. We touched a little bit on that with Gary there a while back. But yeah, I love what you said. I forgot about that. You know, it comes into my consciousness and out that you did that. And I don't know if that's available. We should show that or get some clips out of that. Do you have access to that?
I actually would love to watch it with you and even do a bit of a debrief, because it was really the story of seven ordinary people living extraordinary lives. And we took them through the laws of learning. And there was just such a variety of people from around the world. and it was filmed in, I believe, 27 countries. And it was just beautiful experiences of dealing with vortices and dealing with people's energy and charges. And I just met with one of the ladies who was in it this weekend. We had a chat, and it's been beautiful to reconnect with people that 10 years later, to see where they are in their life, in their journey, and honor them in a way that it's beautiful.
It is, and you're making me think of Unlock the Door, always sitting right there in my book, right? When, time goes by and then you reconnect with those people, and, those people had dreams too, a dream to heal, a dream to shift, to move forward, to experience life from a different perspective, and then connecting with those people. And so many of them have achieved so much.
I love what you just did there too, is that the people in the book, they had a dream. And if you're talking, for me, energetically, that's beautiful. They had a dream to heal, to release. And then if they infuse hope is almost that energetic charge where it's more of a belief that it will happen. And so energetically, when the work with Esther Hicks, the asking it is given, there is a component that if you just dream but you don't believe, then you just have it on the shelf. Yet if you put some hope into it, yet you also put some effort into it, and you do with releasing work and breath work, and all of a sudden your dreams become a reality. And it's almost awakening that you actually might be living your dream life.
Exactly. If you remove some of the things that you think are obstacles and you look behind, I mean, look at where we live, right? One of the things that came up when you were just speaking to me is affirmations. And often people will repeat affirmations over and over again as a hope to achieve something, or as a dream to aspire towards, right? But what you said was so key, because it's not just saying those things, or, I have a desire to do this or that. It's creating that whole feeling, that whole energy. It's like we put out what that dream or hope is, and through that enthusiasm and that energy, we pull it in like a magnet. Like, we both know this, opportunities coming our way, people coming in our lives at different times, and we have an awareness of that. And that is that exchange of energy, and being not only open to it, but expecting it in a way, right? Like,
It's beautiful. Again, though, your vibe there creates this energetic charge. It creates a vortex. And so that's what we were talking when we were getting prepared, was the full moon experience of Libra. Libra tends to be about the balance, yet the full moon, there's a lot of people that find those full moons exhausting. They get full. They can't sleep. And so if we have an acknowledgement that there is an ebb and a flow, just like the oceans, in our life, in our emotions. Some people don't like to be emotional, whereas other people, they acknowledge emotion, energy, emotion. And so when you put a incantation, it becomes a little bit different than just saying some words. If you put some energy in, yet not with the attachment, the desire, or the expectation, yet the fullness of the energy, and then be able to perhaps notice when it happens, because quite often it happens and we're not even aware that it happened, or we don't acknowledge it. And the universe doesn't mind, yet it is kind of, for me, there's this metaphor, it's almost giggling at me when I'm not being aware.
That's so true. It's like this vision's in my mind, right? You're at the train station, and the train comes in, but it's like a certain destination, and you're like, oh no. And then you get on another one because that is where you wanted, but you miss an opportunity because you get so fixed on a destination. And that's one of the questions I think that I have listed down the list here. But what's this next? What's the purpose or intent of hopes and dreams? That may be two different things. And why were they created? Who created them? Why does it seem so important? Hope to me is, there's a lot of maybe religious content or faith-based around that, particularly when somebody is not well. We send them our best wishes and hope for the best and all of that. And dreams can be another category. It can be very, sometimes driven by a family, that's their dream, what they want you to achieve. So what comes to mind when you think about this?
The word that really changed my life was intentions. And I spent probably 18 months traveling around the world asking people, so what is your intention today? And it was quite fascinating because it would be a great way to start a workshop, go around the room, ask people, what's your intention? Because when you go intention, you go on a higher state that you're putting it out to the universe. So intention, I do believe, is a beautiful word. Until I met Marianne Williamson one day in Colorado, and I had flown from Singapore to Colorado, and my intention was to meet Marianne Williamson. I landed, and we ended up getting on the same little shuttle bus to the hotel that we were staying at. And so I said to her as we were checking in, I said, wow, Marianne, I just want to say my name's Dave. I'm from Singapore, and one of my intentions this trip was to interview you. And she goes, oh, okay, no problem. When do you want to do it? After we check in? I said, okay. And may I ask you a question? She goes, sure. And I go, what's your intention? And she said, my intention is not to have any intentions. So she gave me the yin yang experience, which was so beautiful, because so often when we're focused on one direction, the gift is on the opposite side. And that's what that beautiful Taoist symbol tends to mean. In the light, there's a speck of darkness. In the darkness, there's a speck of light. And so when I think of purpose and intent, I do go back to those experiences of Marianne Williamson. And then with purpose is Rick Warren's Purpose-Driven Life, which is a beautiful book because it's got some exercises that really engaged me during my journey to find my purpose. And coincidentally, serendipitously, I was in LA to do a workshop. And one of the gentlemen at the end of the Sunday said, so what are you doing now? And I goes, oh, I'm pretty open. She goes, I'm going to see Rick Warren. Do you want to go see him? I go, what? And he drove me to Saddleback Church, and we had the opportunity to experience Rick Warren on the pulpit and then a conversation. And it was fascinating the way that our purpose tends to be a longer term.
A lot of people struggle with that. You know that? I mean, again, in psychotherapy and over the years in coaching people, a lot of people are really upset when they can't find their purpose.
I found 55-year-old men to be very angry about that during one of my years when I was studying this. And I would go around and I would meet people, and they'd be running around very in anxiety, angst, anger. I don't know my purpose. I don't know my purpose. I don't know that was their mantra. They don't know their purpose. And so in my latest book, Get 2020 Vision, I actually changed the chapter where instead of purpose and passion, which are so charged for many people, I changed it to, what would you like to do? What would you love to do? And that was my substitute or my transformational vocabulary to help people just do some things you like to do. What would you love to do in the next 18 months? And it de-charges it to a point where perhaps you could be more playful. How about you? You asked this question. It was a great question. Yet for me, it's into those Gestalt experiences. And that's what I'm inviting any of our listeners is that, what does this mean for you also? And feel free to type in or ask questions, because I'd love to engage people in where they are with hope and dreams, where they are with their purpose and intent. Where are you with that question, Deb?
Well, my intent was actually to have Marianne Williamson be interviewed for my book, and that didn't happen. I sent a request and I didn't hear anything back, but that's fine. It wasn't a rigid plan, right? It was
can I not to one up you, yet guess who just rejected my invitation to come talk to us?
Who?
The gentleman who wrote the foreword for your book.
Gabor.
Yes, I sent a message to him last week. So.
Oh gosh, yeah, he's pretty busy into certain interviews, and I know he's cut back a lot.
And that's fine.
Oh, that's great that you know what? That's great that you asked him. And
I
that's
sent 3 out. I sent one to Jordan Peterson. I sent one to your friend in Vancouver, and I sent one to Gab Saad in Montreal. These are our 3 Canadian guys who are on the circuit right now. Mm-hmm. And so I decided to just play a game and send it out. And Bruce Lipton also said no. And so I was going to send a picture of Bruce and me at a workshop together when, but because it's their gatekeepers are saying no at this time.
Yeah. And
it's fun. I find it curious and fun, and frankly, a little rejection's good for humility.
And listen, I love this. I love this because it stretches. It's, in terms of dreams, I believe that you have to create it. I believe that we create our lives by the actions that we take. It doesn't matter what comes into our life. We get to choose how we're going to react. It doesn't mean it's easy. It doesn't mean there aren't obstacles or challenges, but we do get to choose. And by creating our life actively, then it's more likely to happen. Well, sit back and wait.
The beautiful, funny thing is, again, I could ask you the question yet. Well, who do you think Marianne was interviewing last week?
I didn't. Sometimes I see her stuff, but I didn't see.
She was interviewing Gabor.
My guess was Bruce, but Gabor.
Yeah. So I think it's beautiful.
Did you drop my name with Gabor? Hey, Gabor, you did the forward for Deb.
I did. Actually, I did. Yes, I did.
Oh, there we go. That's shot.
But it's beautiful because that's how close we are from an energetic perspective. You're mentioning Marianne right now. I just talked to her. You've just had Gabor do your forward for your, and so there's this beautiful, again, altered states of consciousness. There's matrix. It's all beautifully, gracefully entwining and dancing. And so no anger, no upset. Yet again, when Bruce PA sort of said no, I thought of some ways to be a little, get my Darth Vader hat on and go on social media. Yet that was a fleeting little bubble of.
Well, maybe what you should have dropped is that. Deb and Dave are working on this movie called Pray Love, and yeah.
Well, again, that's another thing that you and I may be creating or co-creating on a different realm too, because both of us have been talking about doing a short movie or another long movie or whatever. And that's what the last 3 months, so many little video clips have been edited and played with. And the storytelling, when you talk about your hopes and your dreams, I guess it comes down to the stories we tell ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good point.
And so if our friends today who are storytelling, are you telling uplifting stories to yourself, or are they poor me stories? Is it going to be a hero's journey? Is it going to be a hero's journey? Is it going to be a love story? What story are you telling yourself?
Yeah, exactly. With this question, in terms of importance, I certainly believe hope is important. I believe it's a part of faith. I believe it does shift a person's energy. If a person isn't well and they have a lot of hope, a lot of faith, a lot of belief, if they have a dream to still achieve something, they will likely live longer than if they don't, right? If somebody gives up, they'll pass pretty quickly usually. Seen that happen a number of times where people then get a timeline, and it's incredible how quickly they can pass. And the other thing with dreams and being important, I think it's tied to purpose or meaning or fulfillment, actualizing something that we really love to do. I mean, a dream is not going to be something that feels bad. I hate my dream. I don't know why I keep doing it. Like, it's just not like that, right? Like, a dream is something that we've probably exaggerated. Like I don't know about you, Dave, but being a young child and the certain dreams, and we're going to talk with that goes into, where is it here? Seasons of life in a sense. As a child, the dreams are, well, like, I don't know about you, but I wanted to play in the Montreal Canadiens when I was really little. that was my first dream that I remember. And that was based on the love of the game of hockey and watching hockey, and why I didn't know that it wasn't possible. I knew that I loved hockey and figured I could play. And then as time goes by, then you see, well, everybody gets married and everybody has like a house and a dog, and that becomes something that you model. That to me is not just true passionate dream. I know people that have that as a passionate dream. And then they go for that, right? But for me, it was sort of like, that's part of the one question is, where do these dreams come from? They can be things that we watch on TV, with celebrities, for example. Oh, we want to be that or this or that. And anyways, so, what were your little dreams? What did you want to be when you were
a hockey player? For sure. Again, I put up some of those hockey cards that just came back into my reality recently. And I put my little group of the Montreal Canadiens, the Jean Beliveau, Yvon Cornwallis, and then I had my little Leafs, the Toronto Dave Keon, and here, clear the shack, here comes Shaq. And Dave Keon was the same birthday, or has the same birthday as me, March 22nd. So his middle name's Michael. So I had this dream that I was going to be, and then I actually had to cut that dream when I was 14. And from 5 to 14, I really thought I was going to make it to the NHL. I ended up playing with some players that did go on and made it to the NHL. And it was quite fascinating to shift the energy from the dream of being a hockey player to take that energy and focus it on wanting to do well at school and then become an international banker. And it was quite energetically charged, yet there was definitely a decision that hockey became no longer fun.
Wow. My, fall from grace in hockey was probably a little bit younger than you. And it was like, these guys are really big, really explosive, fast. And then the dream shifted into, playing the best female hockey that was available. But it's very interesting because that's the one thing, right? That's another point in somewhere else in there that I can't see without putting my glasses on. But is the dream rigid or is the dream flexible? So for me, that love of hockey continued further, and then it became playing on the top female teams as I got older, and then I had an opportunity to referee, and then it became leaving playing hockey and officiating over a number of years. And then the opportunities, the doors opened for me as an official. Like, I was very fortunate. Timing was everything. And I worked my butt off too. I was very determined to be the best that I could at that. That was the dream at that time, up until, I don't even know when, 94, 95, something like that, when it was just, I want to be the best official in ice hockey that I can be. And that was, you talk about what happens when the bubble busts, right? That's the other part. Where are we in our 33rd match? Oh, we still have time. But that's a whole other question. Let's stay with the seasons of life. Every moment is a moment of change. Short cycles and long cycles. So short cycles of dreams was kind of what we were just talking about. They do change. Do you have any what are your long-term dreams or hopes? Have you had consistent things from when you were a child?
Okay, I love cycles because if you want the ultimate cycle book, it's the Book of Changes, the I Ching. And so as you're a little familiar, I spent about 15 years studying the I Ching, but also teaching it.
Oh, wow.
So it is really about the seasonality. And so seasonality of our life, the seasons that we go through. What we were sharing a little bit, we're going into spring right now, yet our dear friends in the Southern Hemisphere are going into autumn. This is the thing about different people are going through different seasons of life. If we can be aware of that, we don't force them to be in the same season as us. When we have the opportunity to spend time with the moon, which is a great indicator how things are changing, are we also flowing and ebbing, or are we fighting the changes? When you notice people in their 50s and 60s still doing the same things, behaviors, jealousy, anger that they had when they were teenagers, perhaps they need letting go might be a new strategy. And so that's what I find really fascinating, is that, especially my parents have been such good teachers for me, is that they are giving a reflection of how they are changing at age 60 to 70 to 80, and how my care, it would be useful for it to shift. And getting angry when something is said that would have triggered me 30 years ago, today I can find some humor in it. Yet I'm human. So yes, those old energetic charges still might be tweaked. And when they are, fortunately, I'm laughing more often than yelling. Yet that is a day-by-day situation. And I believe that that's what the Book of Changes teaches also, is we still have these old patterns, these beliefs, these habits. They can be triggered, or we can breathe into them, and find some humor in it, and perhaps respond differently. And guess what? When you respond differently, it freaks the other person out because they're so used to your behaviors and they're counting on it. And loving, being patient, being curious, or just being still is something that's self-nurturing.
Absolutely. A change of state is so critical when things aren't going your way. If you keep the same attitudes, the same beliefs, and, just because we have a thought doesn't mean it's true. And that's what people get into so much. We've all been guilty about that. There's just this ruminating about this or that. It's like, you think it's true, and it's not true. It doesn't have to be the reality that we do create. In this seasons of life, I find it very interesting, because what I'm noticing, and I think it's as I start to approach 60, which is craziness, but I'm good with it. I'm okay. What I'm noticing with some of the people I know and clients as well is, we get into this conversation. It's like, okay, so when I was a kid, the other dream I had was music, acting, the artsy kind of things, writing a book. And I didn't have that for a long time, and went through various seasons, some beautiful springs and summers with things happening. And then at other times, kind of fall things, going down, and the winter, and breathing into it and trying not to fight it, because we just can't, we can't make things grow when we're in a winter season spiritually. It's just not going to happen. Right. But what I'm seeing is these things are coming around again. Okay. So
our magic 33 minutes.
let's put up, you read it, Dave. Let's put up the magic question.
A magical 33-minute moment. If you could have any hope realized or any dream come true, what would they be? Are you going to start, Deb?
I don't know. You were leading. I was waiting for you to.
It's asking you the question.
Well, let's do. We'll do a hope, and then we'll trade off, and then we'll do a dream. So my hope, and I did a little visual here. My hope is that this beautiful planet will survive, and not only survive, but flourish once again. And what are we, around 8 billion people on this planet, and everybody wants a piece of the pie, and there's resistance from our planet, and the nature and the animals on this planet. And we can't keep eating more and more of the pie and being destructive and disruptive to the planet's natural needs and flows and requirements in order to be sustainable. And if I had any hope at all, it would just be that everybody would awaken just a little bit more and really appreciate what we have. And there's so many little things that can be done to really support this beautiful planet that we are so fortunate to be on, you know, in all the main areas of life. You know, we've talked about a few different things, you know, in terms of nature and the clear cutting of trees. It just has to stop. It's not sustainable. The plastic in the oceans and waterways, it's just, you know, the fish are, you know, there's so many that are just floating up onto the shores because they're full of plastic. Anyways, that sounds kind of negative, but I really do believe that if we come together collectively, we can save the planet. And that is certainly my hope. And I've actually made some decisions just this week on a few things that I've been doing and that I'm going to switch. And they're just little things. I'm just one person, but I feel that I need to do those because I just look at the planet and you know, with COVID, we've seen clearer skies. We've seen so many positives in this, and it's just been beautiful. And it really has shifted me even more, thinking that, you know, we need to do more. So that's my hope.
That's a lovely hope.
And your hope? If you had hope,
have a dream.
Oh, you do it. You do your hope. You do
my hope.
Yeah.
Hope. I hope.
Or do your dream first, whichever you want.
Well, I have some, from the last question, you have the little dreams and then the bigger dreams. One of my fun, bigger dreams, and again, I'd love it to be light and encourage people to write down 5 or 10 dreams that you might have. One of my dreams is to create a film or a group of videos that could be inspiring, that could be positively impacting people, and potentially winning an award, an international award. That's a bit of my ego, but yet it's a fun thing that I would like to be involved with in the next week, month, 3 years, 10 years, because it's a little bit of all of those things about getting skilled and practiced and attracting people to be part of something that could be a lot of fun, that has that impact of a candle lighting another candle. Is it doesn't give away anything by simply lighting another person's candle. And I believe when I intertwine it with hope is that I pray daily to be kind, to be patient, to be loving, to bring joy in the things that I do. And there is a hope that that is something that makes a difference. And so that's what I enjoy being part of, is projects, initiatives that are fun, yet giving Mother Earth a massage by going and planting trees is just so delightful.
Yes.
The opportunities to do that, to encourage, to have the message, and to be that storyteller, the story behind the story behind the story, is part of the playfulness, yet also the impact. And if we could find ways that it could be done in such a way that it does potentially allow people to play in a positive way. So
beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I catch you.
Great. Hang those dream catchers everywhere. They're just waiting to get your stamp on it, right? Okay, so dream. So I had something in mind, and as you're talking, I thought, no, if I really was truly honest with a dream, like the dream, when, I don't know if I said this on the show, but I was saying it at speaking it with another group recently, so it's in my mind. When I was 18 or 19 years old, I wrote this. Have you ever had a dream and no one to believe? Have you ever had a dream that had no chance? You had your mind all set, just looking for a little respect. Have you ever had a dream that had no chance? Guess what I wrote that about, Dave?
It sounds like a song.
Well, it wasn't a song. It was, well, maybe I don't remember it as a song. I remember just writing it, but it was about singing. It was about, there's no chance. It was a realization, maybe it was 1920, right around that period of time, like, I'm not good enough, this isn't possible and everything. So in saying that, right, have you ever had a dream? So that was the dream, to have a CD. And now I did do that. I did fulfill that. But there's another dream for another CD, and I've just been pushing it aside because it's just like, why bother? Why am I doing this? Why spend the money on this and do something else? You know, we've had these conversations, and I go, why am I doing this? I'm knocking my head against the wall, and yet these songs, they just keep coming and landing, and they're meaningful songs. I mean, you've probably heard the one, right? The one voice song, for Voice with Men, and that's recorded, and that's going to be, you know, not that in the far distant future, that will be a video. And then I have a couple others that arrived, and there's just meaning to them, you know. So the dream is to just do it, because my heart is there, and without expectation. You know, that's the thing about dreams. Like, don't have expectations about your dream happening or being a certain level. Like, you know, you can expect to have it and own it, step into it, feel it, you know, but you don't have to have an expectation of exactly how it has to be. And I'm very fortunate, you know, working with Jason Laprade, with the music. I just think he's a genius, and he's just such a special friend to me. And it's just so fun to create and to hear the sounds, and to see them. And you know that because you had that.
Yeah. My curiosity as I listen, though, is I'm hearing is there some type of capping that is being shared, that you are a dream maker. You make your dreams a reality. Is there something that's sort of making the dream even more grandiose in a playful way, like winning an Oscar or winning a Grammy or something like that? Is
yes.
I keep hearing you, because I've heard it several times, yet there's almost this self-capping of it as opposed to fully playing and fully expressing and throwing it out. Is that something that is a pattern that I'm acknowledging?
It's so damn funny that you say it, because here's the honest truth. So when you were talking and you said award, right? And I started to share, I forgot to say, and win some award or have some recognition. See how that is? The subconscious was like, oh, just do it for fun. Like, I mean, I do it for fun, but don't have, you know, like whatever, but it's there. It's like, wow, like make this mean something bigger and reach. And that's what it's about. It's about reaching more people, you know, because the songs, they all have those messages, you know, like one voice, build a bridge, you know, one voice at a time, build that bridge, you know. That's a song about, you know, men, and you know, we all have struggles and challenges, but often men pack them down even tighter than women, and then they do something really significant and life-changing, right? So that's what that song's about. I'm really looking forward to sharing that. I'm going to share that pretty soon.
And again, I'm inviting you to do it in a way that may break some barriers from even what you think is possible. So that's something that could be a fun game for you to engage with some fun people, to have more fun together. And I guess it's that layering up of inviting and perhaps play, and I think you've done it very well. Again, you've done amazing, incredible things, and I don't see any reason why 10 or 100 or 1,000 or 1,000,000 more people can't know about it. Except that little record that you have about what I'm hearing is, and again, I'm hearing it because it's also a reflection of me. So I'm acknowledging that also. And so there's a dance there that is quite fascinating.
And it is, and I also think you're reading my mind, because it is, the vision in this is to have several people actually have cameos in there and sing. And when the song repeats, build a bridge, one voice at a time. And then there's a lot of people. So I'm actually going to be posting that very soon. Maybe this is the first time I'm saying it publicly. And I invite you to join in that. That this, I'm going to have some singers, carrying the right harmonies and tunes at the end, but I'm just going to have other people just saying it too. So I invite you to join in. It's so funny. You nailed it on the head. So I'll even let the cat out of the bag a little bit, but that's the plan. And actually I'm scheduled to get together with Jason this weekend. So just to really start working towards that, because it's a duet, right? It's and it's first time public too, I think is it was a download. That was a dream, to write a song, like a small dream. And like, what could I actually, will a song come to me to, enter this contest? And the song came like the day before it was due or something like that. But I said to Jason, 3 days before it was due, it came down. And I said to Jason, hey, Jason, it came as a bloody duet, for crying out loud. I wrote a duet. Are you kidding me? You want to be Donnie Marie with me or what? Anyways, what was it? Did we get to your hope? What is your hope? I don't even know. What time are we at? Oh, yeah. Hope.
I hope we, as a species, continue to find ways to bring compassion, love, joy as a movement in my lifetime.
Yeah.
And so I think that would be pretty cool.
You know what? I knew that. So I was wondering what you were going to say. And I figured it'd be something around that. And I wanted to create a picture for you. Yeah. Okay. Let me get this. Keep that up, Dave. I can see you there. Just there. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure. Okay. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
And so this is the other side of this. What's the impact of achieving versus falling short of the mark? And do you grade this is a question for you. Do you grade yourself based on where you thought you would be at this time of your life? Right? People do that, right?
Well, for sure. Especially if you've been trained as a coach, or you've been trained to use the SMART methodology of specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. And you've got your 5-year goals, and you got your 10-year goals, and you got your 30-year goals. And yes, that's part of a standard practice to increase accountability and direction and focus and clarity. And those are important sometimes to reach your targets, especially if you're driven and that's what you want to achieve. And so it works. It also has ramifications because, as you talked about earlier, is there some flexibility? Is there some flow to it? Or is it rigid? Kill or be killed.
That's harsh.
It is, and it's a
the opposite
reality.
of what you just said with compassion,
Correct.
The Darwinian belief system.
Survival
right?
of the fittest, absolutely.
But that's a myth. It's so wrong. It's not even correct. He didn't even bloody well initiate it. He just kind of scooped that away. And what he also did say that there were gaps. This wasn't an absolute, and we've put it into the school system. I don't know about you, grew up at the same time. It was okay, they had the chart on the wall. Little did we know there were a bunch of things missing. Anyway, sorry, I sort of interjected on you there.
No, absolutely. You're again, the idea of what we've been taught, and this is one of the little lessons that has come about, is when we hear something, one of my little records is the story, and then the story behind the story, and then the story behind the story. And there's many different stories that come into play, yet we have been taught history. It's his story post World War II that has been choreographed and written in a certain way, that if you travel and you go and you meet people and you do your research, you know that it isn't the truth. It's a doctrine.
Mhm.
And my personal experiences is that, unfortunately, a number of the systems that are built upon that are not necessarily serving humanity.
Yeah.
And so that's what some of the experiments that you're involved with and you've experienced and you're exploring are part of the reseeding and the recreation and the journey that we're on right now. And it can be frightening. And this is where, do you grade yourself? Yes. I use the wheel of life and the different types of tools. And if I want to get really down and hard on myself, I can be brutally hard on myself to a point of pushing myself to overwhelm and upset, or I can be kind to myself. And that, as I've learned, is a choice. I've learned the hard way, I must admit.
Don't you think that we can go back and forth on that? Like some days it might be, I didn't, I need to be at a certain amount of income coming in, or I'm not quite there. Like mine fluctuates month to month, which is another, thing, right? But listen, if you focus in on lack, you're going to find lack in your life in every area of your life. And if you focus on abundance, or at least something neutral, then that's going to show up too. But the grading system, it's so interesting. Yes, because I work with those all the time with clients. People can be really harsh. And what's interesting? I was talking to a friend just a short time ago. My new friend, after 40 years that we found each other. So we've always texting and having conversations all the time. And I said, you know what? When we were friends in the video, right, in my hometown video, right, and Ring Around the Rosie, and she's there, I said, at that time, I wanted to be a rock star. I wanted to be an actress. And then I went through life, and it's like nothing came true. And then I went, but everything came true. Like it really did. Like, I'm not famous for those things, but I've done those things. Everything I thought I really think pretty much everything I thought, except for the marriage route. And that's a whole other story. But those kinds of achievements, or those dreams, those kid dreams, they all happened, at least partially, like beyond really realistically what I could have expected if I was being like really logical in a sense, right? But they happen. But when I grade myself in certain ways, I go, wow, that's very interesting, but it just didn't happen. That, the travels around the world and all that kind of work and that kind of adventure that we have had in our lives, that just didn't happen. It was created. You mentioned Gabor for the book. That just didn't happen. It just didn't happen to, I don't list off things, but if you're going to cycle across Canada, you have to train, like you have to sign up, you have to do things. If you want things to happen in your life, that's part of that vision and an action plan, to make things happen. And the grade, listen, I think it's human nature to always seek a little bit beyond where we are. For me, to get out of the comfort zone, to have a little fear, to move forward. That's always present as part of the grading of it. But that's part of the adventure, isn't it? Like,
well, for you, see, that's what's beautiful. What you've just shared is your mostly winning strategy. As I hear it, I almost could fine tune a wee bit just to give you the feedback that you have actually realized everything that you visualized in a certain story. So like you doing your martial arts training in front of 50 students, like, guess what? You're a celebrity. You're a star. They all think that you're Jean-Claude Van Damme. And so that idea of even like marriage, well, no, you had beautiful relationships in the eyes of the sun and the moon and the river. You were married in bliss. Yeah. So that's what's beautiful as an outsider who can look in and give the fine tune is that, yes, and the effort that you put in. This was the funny thing about even talking to young people right now is that to reach that level, the amount of time, effort, and practice that people do would shock those who've never done it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's funny, like in my hockey little story, it's like we played pretty high level hockey. We were Ontario champions in hockey. And I quit cold turkey at 14. I didn't pick up a hockey stick for 15 years. I played when I was 29 in Hong Kong. And I just happened to play with Gordie Howe. And so it was so cool. Yet my harnessing the energy of hockey, I ended up in lacrosse being a Canadian champion. So this idea of the work that goes into achieving often is perhaps not self-honored or acknowledged. And that's the kindness that I guess I'm finding right now as I approach 60 also, is that when I score myself right now in the Wheel of Life, when my highest score before used to be 7.5, I'm giving myself a 9 sometimes now, and happiness at a 9.5. And I'm asking myself what 10 would look like. So I'm exploring that with different type of communication.
Exactly. It's just doing that today with somebody, right? So it's like, okay, what is the score in these various areas of your life? Because there's this, I want to be happy. Well, like really, like happy is like, what is happy? Where are you in each area of the life, right? 6, 7, 3 on a bad day, 6 on a good day. And what does that even mean? Like, what is the feeling that you want? And that's why it's nice to have hopes and dreams, because if that's coming from a playful, like, what did you love to do as a kid? And what lifts you out of bed in the morning? What ignites your curiosity, your sense of humor? And if you go after those things, well, then that happy quotient goes up. I mean, I know for you, like your creativity, like you're like on a 15 out of 10 right now. Because when I first met you, it was like, oh yeah, I remember you talking about being afraid to draw or being told you weren't creative. And it seems like every day or every other day, you're doing something that is very creative.
And you know what's beautiful is my mom now, for the first time in her life, 81 years old, started painting. And when she sees me painting, she goes, "Are you still painting?" Like, she finds it really, really funny. Because the funny thing is that I actually did a little bit of a debrief, is that as a kid, I never did it. Like, I was playing hockey, I was playing lacrosse, I was always active. I didn't draw, I didn't paint. So it's almost like the neural connection, the neuroplasticity just wasn't there. So there was fear. It was all fear. Today, I'm actually creating those neurons to connect, to actually laugh and giggle with it as a 5-year-old. And I guess if there was a completion today for is inviting people, go play, hope, dream as a 5-year-old again. Not with the criticism of a 18 or 22-year-old, as a playful 5-year-old, and realize that maybe you're creating those neural pathways for the first time, because it's maybe something that you didn't do as a 5-year-old. I've been experimenting with that. It's the first time I've sort of said it publicly yet. I would invite people to explore it. Please give us some feedback. Play, and giggle and laugh, and perhaps that will lighten up the day, and it will make more resiliency and perhaps even more energy and vitality in different parts of your life.
I love it. I'm not going to top that up. I'm not even going to try to say you've got those neurons in your brain that are just waiting to find different pathways, neuroplasticity, epigenetics, and all that. That's a whole other topic, and we got rejected by Bruce Lipton. So we'll have to come up with that our own way. Thank you so much for watching Pray Love this evening. We truly appreciate your comments and feedbacks, and then even show ideas. If there's somebody that you would like us to reach out to, we can do that. Actually, I was going to say who was on next week, but she actually has changed her date just before the show. So thank you so much, Dave. Always great. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much.
We'll go out with the beautiful Rosemary Phelan.
Namaste.
Love is all